Hello, my name is Craig DeRoche with Prison Fellowship. Today in America, more than 2 million men and women are incarcerated, and an ever-increasing number of them are returning back to our communities. So it's more important than ever that we use our voice to advocate for a more restorative punishment system, a more constructive culture inside the walls, and closure for those that have repaid their debt. We're well known at Prison Fellowship for the work that we do in our ministry inside the walls. But did you know that Prison Fellowship is one of the nation's leading voices in criminal justice reform? And we'd like for you to consider making that part of your prison ministry. We'd like you to join us as an advocate and consider using your voice to raise it up in the halls of Congress and in the states, and let our elected leaders know that the church wants to see our values lived out in the criminal justice system. When I'm done speaking here, you're going to hear from some congressmen that are going to tell you how to effectively use your voice as a Christian to help inform them on the votes they take regarding criminal justice reform.
My definition of being an advocate is for someone to come in and advocate, or to push, or to urge, or to persuade, or to use their influence to try to get somebody either in Congress or in the administration or in any kind of governmental body to begin to move something, to do something about an issue that you care deeply about. Advocacy, particularly by individuals who care deeply, is very, very effective. They ought to come in with, one, a compelling argument, two, obviously the facts, three, personal experience. I think if they can say, I worked in this system, I did this, I did that, here's what I saw, here's what and the reason why it's so important. But they don't have to be very sophisticated, hard, shiny brochures, and I think you just look. You can tell if a person is there because they really care and they know what they're talking about, or they're just kind of, doing it because somebody asked me to do it. But people want to know, why are you interested in something? If your faith is driving you, I think it's important to talk about it.
Hi, this is Congressman Bill Huizenga, 2nd District of Michigan. If the only thing that someone can do is to send an email, yes, they should do that. What I highly recommend for people is, though, to try to get us on home turf. I go home every weekend. Not everybody does, but a vast majority of my colleagues do. And it's hard out here in Washington to carve out that time and to even get 15 minutes. If you wanted to get together with coffee with me, with a group of people back in the district, guess what? We've got a half an hour, if not an hour, to be able to sit down and do that. Take me to a prison. In fact, I'm going to be visiting one in a couple of weeks up in the district. Doing those kinds of things back on the home turf, where there's a little different pace, that is really effective, and you're talking to constituents. Oftentimes when people come in, it's hard to know whether they're from even your state, much less your particular district that you represent. But when you've got that back at the district, it's a great way. That's a great way of doing it. I think that's the most ideal. Coming to Washington is important as well, because you do need to also build those relationships with staff. That's just the reality of what we have to deal with. Simply not having enough hours in the day to deal with all the issues. I have to rely on staff. Get used to it. The world is run by 25-year-olds out in Washington, D.C. That's just the reality of it. But they tend to be very smart, and you want to make sure that you're making a connection in with them. If you're thinking about what you personally can do today, don't wait. Make sure you're following your heart and following your passion, and get involved. It's time to act. In fact, Dietrich Bonhoeffer has a great quote. Not to speak, he said, is to speak. Not to act is to act. So you got to speak and you got to act.
Whether you're a current ministry volunteer or just beginning to think about the Christian response to crime and incarceration, we need your voice. If you're interested in becoming more deeply engaged as a volunteer, please go to prisonfellowship.org/action. There you can apply for several positions. We need justice advocates who work to change the hearts and minds by hosting events and visiting their legislators to raise awareness about criminal justice and its impact on our communities. We also need criminal justice researchers who use facts to advance values-based arguments. Finally, we're seeking advocacy writers who put a face and a story to crime and incarceration through the written word. If you're not able to commit as a volunteer, how about taking a minute to simply donate your signature? When you sign up for our Advocacy Alerts, Prison Fellowship will notify you of opportunities to reform the criminal justice system. Using our easy online advocacy tool, you can sign and send a prepared message to legislators in just a few clicks. Go to prisonfellowship.org/justice reform to sign up for our advocacy today. Together we can inspire the church, change the culture, and advance justice reform.